I am going to be straight with you today. Things are not looking great out there. Prices keep climbing, shelves go bare without warning, and most people are sitting on maybe 3 days' worth of food in their homes. That is a problem, a big one. And if you have been putting off building up your pantry because it feels overwhelming or expensive or like something only extreme preppers do, I need you to shake that mindset right now. This is not about being paranoid. This is about being smart. This is about making sure that no matter what happens, whether it is a job loss, a supply chain breakdown, a natural disaster, or just prices getting so out of hand that you cannot afford to shop normally, you and your family eat. Period. That is the whole goal here. Now, I have put together a solid list of foods you should be stacking up right now. Not next month, not after your next bonus, now. And I am not just going to give you a quick rundown and send you on your way. I am going to actually talk through why each one matters, how to store it properly, what you can do with it, and why skipping it would be a mistake. So settle in, because we have a lot to cover. 1. Sweeteners. Let us start with something people almost always overlook when they think about emergency food supplies. Sweeteners. I am talking about sugar, honey, maple syrup, molasses, and whatever else you personally reach for when you want to add a little sweetness to your food or drinks. Here is why this matters more than you think. When you are living off a stockpile, the food you are eating is going to be very plain. We are talking grains, beans, canned goods, basic stuff. Day after day of plain food does something to a person mentally. It wears you down. It kills morale. A little bit of sweetness changes the entire experience of a meal. A spoonful of honey in your oatmeal makes it breakfast instead of a chore. A bit of sugar in your cornbread makes it feel like actual food instead of survival rations. Molasses mixed into your beans adds depth and richness that makes the whole thing feel intentional rather than desperate. Honey is the gold standard here because it literally never expires. Archaeologists have found honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that was still technically edible. Properly stored honey will outlast everything else in your pantry with zero effort from you. It also has antimicrobial properties, meaning it has uses beyond just sweetening food. You can use it on minor wounds, mix it into teas when someone is sick, and use it as a natural preservative. White sugar, stored in airtight containers away from moisture, will last indefinitely. Same story as honey, essentially. Maple syrup will last a very long time sealed. Once opened, keep it in the fridge if you can, but in a grid-down situation, use it up faster. Molasses is underrated in the prepper community, and I genuinely do not understand why. It has minerals in it. It adds huge flavor to beans and baked goods. It lasts a long time. It is cheap. Stock it. Do not overthink the amounts here. Just buy more than you think you need. Double what you would normally use in a year and put it away properly. 2. Pasta is one of the most practical foods you can stockpile, and if you are not already buying it in bulk, start today. The pasta you buy from a store shelf, the standard dry stuff in cardboard boxes or bags, is made from semolina flour and water. That is it. No eggs, no oil, nothing that is going to go rancid or degrade quickly. Stored in a cool, dry place in its original packaging, dry pasta can last up to 2 years easily. But here is where you can seriously extend that shelf life. Pull it out of the cardboard box and seal it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and you are looking at storage life that extends well past 10 years without any meaningful loss in quality or nutrition. Pasta gives you carbohydrates, which means energy. It is fast to cook. It is filling. It pairs with almost anything. You can mix it with canned tomatoes and spices and have a real meal. You can cook it and toss it with whatever oil and garlic you have on hand. You can use it as a base for soups and stews to stretch them further. It is one of the most versatile items in a long-term pantry. Get different shapes and types, not because variety in shape matters much nutritionally, but because rotating through different pasta shapes helps break up the monotony. Spaghetti one night, penne the next, rotini after that. It is a small thing, but small things matter when you are eating from a pantry for an extended stretch. Stay away from fresh pasta for long-term storage. Homemade pasta or refrigerated pasta from the store has eggs and oils in it, which means it can spoil. It does not store the same way. Keep that for regular cooking and leave the dry shelf-stable pasta for your stockpile. 3. Dry beans and lentils. This is where the real nutrition lives. Dry beans and lentils are going to carry you through hard times better than almost anything else on this list. They are cheap, they are dense, they are packed with protein and fiber, and they store for a very long time. Now, I want to specifically call out lentils here because they are genuinely underappreciated. A lot of people know about dried black beans and kidney beans and pinto beans, but they sleep on lentils, and that is a mistake. Lentils cook in about 20 to 30 minutes with no soaking required. Dry beans usually need to soak overnight and then cook for an hour or more. When you are trying to conserve fuel, that time difference is significant. Lentils also have an impressive nutritional profile. You are getting protein, iron, folate, and a solid amount of fiber in every serving. Red lentils break down when cooked and become almost creamy, which makes them perfect for soups and dal. Green and brown lentils hold their shape better and work well in salads or heartier stews. For dry beans, variety is your friend. Pinto beans, black beans, navy beans, chickpeas, kidney beans, great northern beans. Stack all of them. Each one has a slightly different flavor and texture, which means you can rotate through different meals rather than eating the exact same thing every single day. Properly sealed in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, dry beans and lentils can last 25 years or more. That is not a typo. 25 years. The nutritional content holds up, and the flavor is fine. The only thing that happens over very long storage is the beans may take longer to soften when cooking, but they will still cook, and they will still be edible and nutritious. Buy as much as you can reasonably store. This is not an item where you should be thinking small. Hey, quick break. If this is useful to you, take 2 seconds and hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. It genuinely helps, and I appreciate it. 4. Rice. If dry beans and lentils are the protein powerhouse of your pantry, rice is the calorie engine. Rice is going to keep people fed and energized when everything else runs low. It is one of the most widely eaten staple foods on the planet for a reason. White rice, specifically, is what you want for long-term storage. Brown rice has more nutrients, yes, but it also has more oil in it because the bran layer is intact. That oil goes rancid over time. Brown rice stored for too long will taste off and eventually become unsafe to eat. White rice, sealed properly in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, can last 25 to 30 years. Rice is extraordinarily versatile. You can cook it plain as a side dish or base. You can cook it in broth instead of water to add flavor and nutrition. You can make rice porridge, sometimes called congee, which is filling and easy to digest. You can make fried rice using whatever scraps and canned vegetables you have around. You can grind dry rice into flour and use it as a gluten-free baking option. You can make rice milk if dairy is not available. The calorie density of rice is a feature, not a bug. When times get hard and food is limited, you want every meal to count calorically. Rice delivers. A cup of dry rice cooked up gives you enough to fill a plate and keep someone going for hours. Buy it in large bags. The big 25 or 50-pound bags from warehouse stores are your best bet for cost efficiency. Transfer it into mylar bags or food-grade buckets with gamma lids for storage, and you are set. 5. Peanut butter. Peanut butter is dense, calorie-rich, protein-packed, and requires zero cooking. You can eat it straight from the jar when no other cooking option is available. That last part matters more than people realize until they are actually in a situation where cooking is not easy. Standard commercial peanut butter, the kind with stabilizers in it that prevents oil separation, will sit on a shelf for at least 2 years without any problem. Natural peanut butter, the kind where the oil separates, has a shorter shelf life. For long-term storage, stick with the regular commercial stuff. Beyond jars of peanut butter, look into powdered peanut butter. This is a game changer for long-term pantry building. The oil has been pressed out, which dramatically extends the shelf life. Powdered peanut butter sealed in an airtight container can last 4 to 5 years or longer. You reconstitute it by mixing with water, and it works for eating and cooking. Peanut butter powder is also extremely versatile in recipes. You can add it dry into smoothies if you have a way to make those. You can mix it into sauces and marinades. You can use it in baked goods. You can stir it into oatmeal. It adds protein and fat to meals that might otherwise be too heavy on carbohydrates. If there is a nut allergy in your household, look into sunflower seed butter or tahini as alternatives. They do not store quite as long, but they serve the same general purpose and both have solid nutritional profiles. Stack your peanut butter deep. Do not just grab a couple of jars. Think in terms of months of use and buy accordingly. 6. Fats and oils. This one gets overlooked constantly, and it should not. Fats are not optional in a survival pantry. They are essential. Your body needs dietary fat to absorb fat-soluble vitamins, to maintain brain function, to keep joints and skin healthy. And beyond nutrition, cooking without fat is miserable. Things stick to pans, textures are wrong, and food tastes flat. Coconut oil is a top pick for long-term storage because of its high saturated fat content, which makes it much more shelf-stable than polyunsaturated oils. A sealed jar of coconut oil can last 2 years or more at room temperature. It has a high smoke point, meaning you can cook at high heat without it breaking down and smoking. Refined coconut oil is better for storage than unrefined because the refining process removes some of the compounds that can degrade. Unrefined is tastier for eating fresh, but refined wins for the pantry. Crisco and other solid vegetable shortenings last a long time on the shelf, longer than most liquid oils. They are useful for baking and frying. Lard, real rendered animal lard, is incredibly shelf-stable and has been used as a cooking fat for centuries before refrigeration existed. If you can source good quality lard, store it. Liquid oils like olive oil, vegetable oil, and canola oil have shorter shelf lives, usually 1 to 2 years, and they degrade faster once opened. They are still worth storing, but rotate through them regularly and do not expect them to last the way your solid fats will. 7. Salt. Do not underestimate salt. It seems like such a basic, boring pantry item that people often grab just one box or canister and call it done. That is not enough. You want a serious supply of salt? And here is why. Salt does not expire. Stored correctly, it will last forever. There is no reason not to have a large supply of it. Your body needs sodium to function. When you strip away all the processed food from your diet, which will happen when you are living off your stockpile, your sodium intake drops dramatically. Processed food is loaded with hidden salt. When that is gone, you will feel the difference. Headaches, fatigue, muscle cramps. Your body is going to want salt, and you should have it available. Salt is also a preservative. Before refrigeration, salt was how people kept meat and fish safe to eat. If you end up in a long-term situation where refrigeration is gone and you have access to fresh meat, salt is what lets you preserve it. A salt cure can extend the life of meat significantly when no other preservation method is available. Beyond preservation, salt makes food taste like food. It is not just about saltiness. Salt enhances and brightens flavors across the board. Plain rice without salt tastes flat and dull. Rice with a pinch of salt tastes like something a person would actually want to eat. Get plain iodized salt for your main supply. The iodine matters for thyroid health, especially if you are eating a limited diet. Beyond that, grab some kosher salt, some sea salt, and even some curing salt if you plan on preserving meat. 8. Cornmeal and flour grains in flour or meal form give you the ability to actually bake things, and baking is a serious morale booster when times are tough. Being able to make cornbread, flatbreads, pancakes, or simple crackers means your meals have texture and variety that straight rice and beans cannot provide. Cornmeal has a clear advantage over wheat flour for long-term storage. Wheat flour, especially whole wheat, has oils from the bran germ that go rancid over time. Properly stored white flour might last 1 to 2 years. Cornmeal, properly sealed, lasts longer. Finely ground cornmeal works best if you want to use it more like flour in recipes. Coarse ground is better for things like polenta. Get both if you can. You can make cornbread, corn tortillas, hoe cakes, corn porridge, and more with just cornmeal, water, salt, and a bit of fat. Wheat flour is still worth storing in the short to medium term. Vacuum sealed or sealed in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, white flour can last 5 years or more. The key is keeping moisture and oxygen out. Whole wheat flour does not store as long due to the oils, so either rotate it frequently or stick with white flour for long-term storage. If you really want to get serious, store whole wheat berries or corn kernels and a hand grain mill. Whole grains store for 25+ years, and you grind them into fresh flour as needed. The upfront cost of a quality hand mill is worth it if you are thinking long-term. Quick pause. If you are getting value out of this, like the video, leave a comment below, and hit subscribe. More content like this coming all the time. 9. Canned meats protein variety is what separates a manageable long-term pantry from a miserable one. Dry beans and lentils cover your base protein needs, but they get old fast if they are all you have. Canned meat is what lets you rotate through genuinely different meals. The options here are wide: canned tuna, salmon, sardines, chicken, beef, pulled pork, Vienna sausages, corned beef, Spam. Each one has a different flavor profile and texture, which means each one unlocks different meal possibilities. Sardines get dismissed a lot because of the strong flavor, but they are nutritional powerhouses. They are high in protein, loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, and rich in calcium because you eat the small soft bones. Mashed into some crackers or mixed into rice with a bit of hot sauce, they work. Canned chicken is mild and incredibly versatile. You can make chicken salad if you have mayo stockpiled. You can stir it into soups or rice dishes. You can mix it with pasta and whatever sauce you have. It is one of the most useful canned meats in the pantry. If you have the equipment and the experience, home canning your own meat is significantly more cost-effective than buying store-canned meat. A pressure canner is the tool you need, not a water bath canner. Pressure canning is the only safe way to home can low-acid foods like meat. If you are new to canning, get proper instruction before attempting it. Done wrong, it is dangerous. Done right, it is one of the most valuable skills a prepper can have. Store-bought canned meats typically have a shelf life of 3 to 5 years, though they often remain safe and palatable well beyond the printed date. Home canned meats, processed correctly, are considered safe for 1 to 2 years and often hold up longer. 10. Canned fruits and vegetables. Fresh produce is the first thing to disappear in any kind of supply disruption. Canned fruits and vegetables fill that gap. They are not as nutritious as fresh, there is no way around that. But they still deliver fiber, vitamins, and minerals that you would otherwise go without. Beyond nutrition, canned produce adds variety. It breaks up the monotony of grains and protein. It adds moisture to meals, which matters when you are cooking with limited water. It adds flavor and color, which sounds trivial, but genuinely affects how much people want to eat when they are stressed or living on limited options. Build your canned vegetable supply around things you actually eat and like. If your family hates beets, do not stockpile beets just because they are cheap. You will end up not eating them, and they will sit there taking up space. Corn, green beans, peas, tomatoes in all their forms, diced, crushed, paste, sauce, carrots, potatoes, mixed vegetables. These are solid choices that most people will eat without complaint. For fruits, stock peaches, pears, mandarin oranges, pineapple, applesauce, and fruit cocktail. Yes, they have sugar in them. That sugar also provides quick energy and makes the fruit taste good, which means people will actually eat it. Do not forget tomato products specifically. Canned diced tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce, and tomato paste are the backbone of hundreds of recipes. Having a deep supply of tomato products means you can make pasta sauce, soups, chili, shakshuka, rice dishes, stews, and more. Tomatoes are flavor amplifiers in cooking, and your stockpile should reflect that. 11. Spices and herbs. I said there would be a bonus item, and here it is. And I want to be clear that this is not optional. Spices are one of the most important things you can store, and they are almost universally under-prioritized. Here is the reality of eating from a bare pantry. After 2 weeks of rice and beans with nothing to season them, people stop wanting to eat. Appetite fatigue is a real thing. It happens when you eat the same flavors repeatedly, and your brain starts rejecting the food even when your body needs it. Children especially will refuse to eat food that is flavorless or repetitive. Spices solve this problem entirely. The same pot of beans can taste completely different depending on what you put in it. Add cumin, chili powder, and oregano, and you have Southwest beans. Add garam masala and turmeric, and you have Indian dal. Add bay leaves, thyme, and smoked paprika, and you have something that tastes like it came from a slow cooker recipe. Add molasses and mustard powder, and you have Boston-style baked beans. Same ingredient, 4 completely different meals. The spices worth prioritizing are the workhorses. Salt you have already covered. Black pepper is essential. Garlic powder and onion powder go in almost everything and punch way above their weight. Cumin, chili powder, paprika, smoked paprika, oregano, thyme, bay leaves, cinnamon, cayenne, turmeric. These cover an enormous range of cuisines and applications. Dried herbs work well too. Rosemary, basil, parsley, dill, cilantro in dried form. They add brightness and freshness to dishes that otherwise taste heavy and dense. Store spices in airtight containers away from heat and light. Whole spices, like whole peppercorns, whole cumin seeds, and cinnamon sticks, last significantly longer than ground spices. If you have a small hand grinder, buying whole spices and grinding them fresh as needed gives you better flavor and longer storage life. Vacuum sealing your spice supply is worth doing for long-term storage. Oxygen breaks down the volatile compounds that give spices their flavor. Remove the oxygen and you preserve the potency much longer. 12. Apple cider vinegar and other vinegars. This one does not get talked about nearly enough in food storage circles, and I want to change that. Vinegar is one of the most useful things you can have in a long-term pantry. First, the practical cooking uses. Vinegar adds brightness and acidity to food. When you are cooking from a pantry and everything starts tasting flat and heavy, a splash of vinegar wakes dishes up. It cuts through richness, balances sweetness, and makes flavors pop in a way that salt alone cannot. Apple cider vinegar specifically has long been used as a health tonic. Some people swear by it for digestion, immune support, and general wellness. Whether or not you buy all the health claims, having a pantry supply of apple cider vinegar gives you a versatile liquid that doubles as a cooking ingredient and a household cleaner. White vinegar is even more multi-purpose. You can use it in pickling, which is a legitimate food preservation method. You can clean surfaces with it. You can use it in laundry as a fabric softener substitute. You can use it to descale pots and kettles. In a grid-down or supply chain disrupted world, multi-purpose items are extremely valuable. Rice vinegar, balsamic vinegar, and red wine vinegar are all worth storing in smaller quantities to add variety to cooking. They each have a distinct flavor profile that unlocks different types of dishes. Vinegar stored in sealed glass containers will last almost indefinitely. It is already acidic enough to prevent microbial growth in itself. It is one of the lowest maintenance items you can store. 13. Oats. If pasta is your quick dinner grain, oats are your workhorse breakfast grain. Rolled oats and steel-cut oats belong in every long-term pantry in serious quantities. Oats are filling. They are high in soluble fiber, which supports digestion and helps keep you full for longer periods of time. In a situation where you are working hard and food may be limited, a bowl of oats in the morning that keeps you satisfied until midday is genuinely valuable. Rolled oats stored properly can last several years. Quick oats are essentially the same thing, just cut smaller. Instant oats tend to have more processing and sometimes added ingredients, so check labels if you are buying for long-term storage. Steel-cut oats take longer to cook, but have the longest shelf life among oat varieties. Beyond basic oatmeal, oats are useful in baking. You can make oat flour by grinding them. You can add them to breads, cookies, and energy bars. You can use them to stretch meat dishes and soups. You can make a savory porridge with oats and broth and whatever protein you have on hand. Oat milk is also an option if you have a blender and water. Soak oats, blend, and strain. Not a perfect substitute for dairy, but functional in cooking and acceptable for drinking. Store oats in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers for long-term storage. Buying in large quantities from warehouse stores gives you the best price per pound. One more quick ask. Hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you are building your stockpile. Would love to know where you are in the process. 14. Dried fruits and nuts. When people start craving snacks, dried fruits and nuts step up in a big way. They are calorie-dense, nutrient-rich, portable, require no preparation, and taste good enough to genuinely improve morale. Raisins, dried cranberries, dried apricots, dates, dried mango, dried blueberries. These all store well in airtight containers and provide natural sugar for quick energy, along with vitamins and minerals that you might otherwise be short on in a pantry-heavy diet. Nuts are one of the most nutritionally dense foods you can eat. Almonds, walnuts, cashews, pecans, peanuts. They provide healthy fats, protein, magnesium, zinc, and vitamins that are hard to get from grains and beans alone. A handful of mixed nuts with a piece of dried fruit is a legitimately satisfying snack that takes zero effort to prepare. The storage challenge with nuts is that their fat content means they can go rancid. Store nuts in sealed containers in a cool, dark place. Vacuum sealing extends shelf life significantly. For very long-term storage, Freeze nuts in airtight bags, and they will last a year or more without quality loss. Trail mix, basically dried fruit and nuts mixed together, is one of the most practical stockpile snacks because it covers multiple food groups in a single handful. Make your own mixes in bulk and seal them up. 15. Baking essentials. Having all the raw ingredients in the world does not help much if you cannot turn them into actual food. Baking essentials are what bridge that gap. Baking soda and baking powder are small in volume but enormous in function. They are what make quick breads and pancakes rise. Without them, your flour and cornmeal produce flat, dense, unappetizing results. A box of baking soda lasts years and costs almost nothing. Stock several. Yeast is worth having too, though it is trickier to store long-term. Instant dry yeast, sealed in its original packaging and kept in a cool, dark place, can last a couple of years. Stored in the freezer, it lasts much longer. Having yeast means you can make actual risen bread, which is one of the biggest morale boosters imaginable when you are eating from a basic pantry. Powdered eggs are a must if you plan on baking seriously. Eggs provide structure, richness, and binding in recipes. Powdered eggs reconstitute with water and work perfectly in baked goods. They can also be scrambled and eaten as a protein source in a pinch. Stored in sealed containers, powdered eggs can last 5 to 10 years. Powdered milk serves a similar function. It adds richness and protein to baked goods, porridges, and soups. Reconstituted, it works in any recipe calling for liquid milk. Sealed in Mylar bags, powdered milk can last 25 years. It is incredibly valuable in a long-term pantry. Vanilla extract lasts basically forever due to its alcohol content. A bottle or two of pure vanilla extract, not imitation, adds enormous flavor to sweet baked goods, oatmeal, and desserts. Do not overlook it. 16. Coffee and tea. I will be blunt. For many people, losing access to coffee and tea would be one of the hardest parts of living from a stockpile. It is not just about the caffeine, though that matters too. It is about ritual. It is about comfort. It is about that one warm, familiar thing in a situation that feels anything but familiar. Stock whatever you actually drink. If you are a coffee person, build up a supply. Whole bean coffee sealed in Mylar bags will last longer than ground coffee. Instant coffee is the easiest to store and prepare and will last several years. Green coffee beans, the unroasted kind, last years and can be roasted at home over a pan or in an oven. Tea is arguably even better for stockpiling than coffee. Loose-leaf tea and individually wrapped tea bags both store easily and last years. Tea bags take up very little space for the amount of use you get from them. Stock a variety, black tea, green tea, herbal teas, and chai blends, and you have warm beverages for every mood and situation. Hot drinks are morale items. Do not leave them off your list because they feel like a luxury. They are a necessity for maintaining sanity during extended hard times. The big picture. Here is what I want to leave you with. Building a stockpile is not a single shopping trip. It is a mindset shift. Every time you go to the store, you add a little more. Every time you spot a sale, you buy extra. Every time you rotate through something, you replace it and add a few more. Start with a 2-week supply if you have nothing. Then push to a month, then 3 months, then 6. A year of food stored at home is a serious buffer against almost any disruption short of a true collapse. The foods on this list were chosen because they check all the key boxes: long shelf life, high nutrition, versatile in cooking, reasonably affordable in bulk, widely available right now. Prices are going up, and availability is not guaranteed to stay consistent. The time to build is now, while you still can. You do not have to be afraid to do this. You do not have to be a survivalist or call yourself a prepper or buy into any particular ideology. You just have to recognize that having a stocked pantry is one of the smartest, most practical things any household can do. Families who ate from their pantries during job losses, storms, and disruptions know exactly how valuable this is. Do not wait. Start today. Buy a bag of rice, a bag of beans, a jar of peanut butter, and a container of salt, and you have already begun. Build from there. And if this was useful to you today, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe so you do not miss the next one. See you soon.